Welcome to this edition of Sudoku Primer videos, where we solve without pencil marks. See sudokuprimer.com for techniques and patterns to help you solve without candidates. This is puzzle number 76 from Sudoku To Go, volume 151. It's a hard puzzle. We're going to solve this puzzle using a new technique. Well, we've used it before, but I haven't described it in this way. This technique is called n alike, where you have one or more numbers that are alike or fit in specific cells. The n can be 1 all the way up to 9, and I'll explain that as I go. A while back I did some videos using different patterns. Then I did a couple of videos, number 145 and 147, where I said forget patterns. That might have been kind of a contradictory term or statement, but in those videos I showed how to search for multiple numbers without looking for patterns. I'll put links to those two videos in the description below if you want to watch those. I'll do the same thing here. I'll look for multiple numbers to show how to find n alike situations. Instead of using patterns, I'll use n alike, and I'll point out patterns I find along the way. I think this will make sense as I proceed. And before we get started, I want to remind you, you can print the puzzle and solution before watching this video. Go to Print This Puzzle and Solution in the description below. All right, well, the first n alike I want to talk about is a technique called loner cells. In box 1 here, we have a cell. It's the only unpopulated cell that isn't in row 2. So we've got 5 numbers in rows 1 and 3. This is the only cell that isn't in row 2, and we have numbers outside the box in row 2. And if you notice a loner cell, you just have to look for a number in this row that isn't already in the box. We got 19276. We have a 7 there, that's already there, but we don't have a 4, so we can put a 4 right there. All right, that's like an n alike with the number 1, with one cell. Okay, here's the same situation. We've got a loner cell here, so let's look in this row. We've got a 9 already in this box, so the 9 won't fit there, but the 5 will. All right, so that's an n alike situation with only one number, where n is 1. Let's see, I'm going to fill in some numbers here, just so we can get some numbers in the puzzle. We got 6's there, so 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 there. 6, 6 with a 6 there, so that's a 6. All right, and now let's look at this situation here. We've got 3 numbers here, or yeah, 3 numbers in this column that are, and we've got 2 blank cells, 2 empty cells in box 1 that aren't in this column. So if we find 2 of the 3 numbers here in this column, they would fit here and here. And in this case, we have a 5 and an 8, so we have 5, 8 twins there. So that only leaves one number, and that's a 3, so I can fill that in. So that's an n-alike example with n being two numbers. There you go, 5 and 8, so 5, 8 twins, and so the 3 goes right there. All right, let's look at this one right here. Same situation. We got two cells with two empty cells here with 3 numbers in the column that but in this case we already got a 6 and a 2 in this box, so we can't use that same thing here because one of these is going to be a 4. In this case we got 4 and 4 there, so that would be a 4, but we couldn't use n alike with the n being 2 because we already had a 6 and a 2 in this box. But I just wanted to point that out. That's kind of what you do is you look in rows and columns for situations where you've got an n alike. You've got the same number of numbers as empty cells. Here's another one right here. Let's look at row 5 here and box 5. We've got 4 empty cells that are outside of outside of row 5 right here. So if these 4 numbers aren't already in this box, then we would know that we'd have quadruplets here. So that's an n-alike example of 4, where n is 4. But in this case, we already have a 2 here, so we can't use that. But then we find there's a 3 and a 4 here, and a 3 and a 4 here. And that means these two cells are 3, 4 twins. And that's actually what we call an opposite pattern, where the two cells in opposite corners are already filled in, and then you look for 2 numbers that are in this column and this row, and if you find 2 numbers that are both in this row and in this column, you'd know that you have twins there. In this case we have 3, 4 twins. We know that the 8 can only go here or here now because we know these 2 numbers. And we can also see there's an 8 here and 8 here, so we have ghost 8s here, so that can't be an 8. So we can put an 8 in there. So you see how I started out using, seeing if there was an n-alike situation here. It turns out there wasn't, but in studying it, I found this opposite pattern here. Numbers in opposite corners. So these are 3, 4 twins right there. All right, let's see here. Okay, here's another situation. We've got 4 numbers, 2, 6, 7, and 9 in this column outside of this box. We've got exactly 4 numbers or 4 cells that aren't populated. But in this case, we already have a 6 and a 7 in this box, so we can't find quadruplets. But that's what I just want to point out, that that's how I look for these situations. But one thing I did find once I looked at that situation, saw there was a 6 and a 7 already, so couldn't find quadruplets, but I did find a set of twins here. These are 2, 9 twins. We got 2, 9 there, 2, 9 there, and 2, 9 here. So we have 2, 9 twins right there. All right, and now let's see. Let's look at column 2 for that in that same situation. We've got 3, 7, 8, 9. We've already got a 9 here, so that won't work. But actually in this case we have 5 empty cells, so we would need 5 numbers here. or an n alike of 5, worth an n of 5 in order to do that. But I do notice that we've got a 3 here, 3 here. Ghost 3's here, so that's a 3 right there. All right. Now here in this case, I'm just kind of pointing out how to look for these things. Here we've got a 1 and a 9 in this column, a 1 and a 9 here. So we have 3 cells that we don't know what they are. One of these is a 1, one of these is a 9, but we don't know what the other number is. If we had another number in this column outside this box and in this row outside this box that wasn't already in here, we would have triplets right here. All right, same thing with, we have a 7 and a 2 here, but we've got 3 numbers there. We got a 7, 2 there, 7, 2 there, but we have three cells we need to deal with instead of 2. So it won't work, but that's just wanted to show you how I kind of scan the grid for things like that. All right, now we've got a 9 here, a 9 here, so one of these is a 9. We got a 2 here, 2 here, so one of these is a 2. So we have 2 9 twins right there. I can fill those in. All right, and now we have another loner cell situation here. So we can have an n alike where n is 1 right here. We just need to look in this row right here outside this box and see if I can find a number that isn't already in the box but is in this row. We have 2, 6, 8, 9, and we have 2, 6, 8, 9 here already. So in this case, it won't work. But I'm just kind of looking for that situation. But let's look at this column here. What do we have in here? 1, 4, 3, 9. 1, 3, 4, 9 outside of this box. We only have 2 empty cells outside of this column. And so those are 1 and 4. Now this is our familiar corner pattern. That 6 doesn't have to be there for the corner pattern. But in this case, we found 1, 4 twins, and therefore these are 5, 7 twins. So I scanned this for an n of 2 for these 2 cells right here, and I found 2 numbers that weren't in this box already. And then because of that, I found these 5, 7 twins right there. And that tells us that, what are we missing here now? We got 5, 7 twins there, 2, 2, 8. And there's a 2 there, so I can fill this in. I can fill that in. And I can put a 5 here, because you remember our 5 8s that we found here, 5, 8. Okay. So that worked out pretty good. Okay. Here we have another loner cell. So we're going to do an n alike here with looking for n of 1, only one number. And let's see what we have here. 2, 3, 5, 6, 9. 2, 3, 5, 6, 9. We've got the exact same numbers here and here. So we can't find a number here that we could fill into the loner cell. But one thing that we found here is we've only got one cell outside this column that isn't populated, and one cell outside this box that isn't populated. And therefore, these 2 numbers have to be the same number. That's what's called identical twins. And you can find identical twins in the techniques section and on sudokuprimer.com. So we know that this number and this number are the same, because of this evaluation that I just did. Okay. Now we know these are 1-4 twins right here. And these are 1-4 twins also. So that's another way of looking that if that's a 1, that's a 4, and that's a 4. If that's a 4, that's a 1, and that's a 1. So, and now looking at this box 7 here, we do have a 7 and 8 there, 7 and 8 there. So we have 7, 8 twins right there. We know that's a 1 or a 4, so that's 1, 4 also. So we have 1, 4 twins there, 1, 4 twins there, 7, 8 twins there. All right. And we also know these are 7, 8 because these are 1, 3s right here, 1, 3 twins. And with this 8, we can fill in that 7 there. Therefore, we know that's an 8 and that's a 7 because we know these are 1, 4 twins, 7, 8 twins. So that helped us find these numbers there. All right, let's go back here. We've got a 7 here and a 7 here now, so one of these is a 7, but remember our 3, 4 twins here? So that's a 7 right there. Okay, that helps us find these, fill in these 5 7s right there that we found a minute ago. And with these 1, 4 twins here, ghost 4s there, we know that's a 3 and that's a 4. So we found those 3, 4 twins earlier with the opposite pattern here. All right, now we're missing 5 and 9 right there. So we can put those in. All right, now we've got a 5 there. And a 7 there. We'll just finish this row right here with a 1 there. All right, let's look at row 2. What are we missing? 1, 2, 1, 2, 9 there. 1 and 9, so that's a 2. All right, and here we're missing, in row 1, we're missing 3, 5, 8. 3, 5, 8. 5 and 8 there, so that's a 3. With that 3, we can fill in the 1, 3 twins we saw earlier. These are 3 and 8. And that's an 8 right there. All right, now we're only missing 1 and 5 here in this column. All right, and we're missing 2, 2 and 9 there, so 2, 9, and 2. All right, so that's an 8, the only number missing in that row. Here we're missing a 1. Okay, so here we're missing 1, 2, 3, 5, 9. 3, 5, 9. 3 and 5, so that's a 9. 3 there, 3 and 5. All right, now let's see, in column 6 we're missing 4 and 8. Now another way to look at this, and I did this before, but we can we see a 4 and 8 there and a 4 and 8 there, so these are 4, 8 twins. We can solve those. Now we've got another loner cell right there. So one of these numbers is that number right there. We got 873, 873, 294. There's a 9 and a 4, so that's a 2. That leaves 1 and 5 there. And then we have the 1, 4 there, 1, 4 there. And we got it. Well, this wasn't a real hard puzzle, but I chose it today to show you how to use the n alike technique. This is a pretty good technique for scanning puzzles when you aren't using candidates. You can, quite often you can find twins, triplets, quadruplets, even quintuplets and sextuplets and things like that using this technique. So I hope you're able to understand how to use it, and I hope this video has been useful. Well, until the next video, so long.